and confirm that you can hear us. As you're coming in, let us know where you're listening from. I always get a kick out of that because, of course, we know YouTube is a global platform, but I kind of want to see where we're chiming in from. Also, if the audio is okay, trying out a new software, and sometimes it just doesn't work. So as you're coming in, a like is going to go a long way. It's going to show the YouTube algorithm that we mean business. We have the man, the myth, the legend, the Zillow killer himself, James. You're going to get on to me, but I'm going to go ahead and say it, Rembert. But now say it how
That's
you're
fine.
supposed to say it.
No. You said it right. It's cool. It's cool.
I know that's
It's
not
cool
right,
either
but
way.
you're being a gracious guest, so I appreciate you. Dude, how are you, man? I always get a kick out of
I'm excellent.
our conversations.
I'm excellent. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Jaime, you call, I run. So that's not a problem. You're my brother, so I don't use that loosely.
Appreciate that. I appreciate that. I consider you the same thing. Anything you need, I am there. We have a GTG in the house, good to go. Ian Flanagan in the house, Dallas, Texas. And we have Ann Riley in the house. I appreciate everybody coming through. Today we have a very interesting topic that I can guarantee you're not hearing enough of because it's new. And there's a lot of folks that when there's something that's new, there's that reservation, there's that hesitancy of getting into it, right? It's that adaptation, that being able to adapt is key. But we say that we like to adapt, but when it comes time to actually changing our pattern, our behavior, and whatever we're doing, we have that reservation. So today we're gonna go into something that might sound completely fantasy to some of you that have never heard of anything like this in the past, but we're gonna tie it to a real estate perspective. Sometimes we're gonna come out of the real estate world to get a foundation, if you will, but they're going to dive right into what actually matters to you, as the audience here is real estate agent focus. So James, I'm going to kick it right over to you, man. Where do you want to start? We have crypto, we have NFTs, we have Web 3.0, we have really where the real estate not necessarily the market, but where real estate, what it can look like in 5 years. And it's really that simple.
Mhm. Um, I think let's start from the beginning. First let's talk about just crypto and just the process of decentralization of what's relevant today, right? I think as our industry grow, what I prefer the industry to start viewing themselves as entrepreneurs and kind of get out of this technician mindset and understand there are certain principles that an entrepreneur has to start inheriting, like investing, right? We have to start understanding, financial literacy. That's such a gray area. And if you're not willing to accept financial literacy, then when you hear things like crypto and you hear things like NFTs and new tech, you miss the opportunity. And our industry, I personally know our industry is slow to adapt because we don't talk about financial literacy. Like, we know how to sell houses and how to make money, but no one talks about, how do I position my money where it's making money for me? How do I stop trading time for money? And if we can take that behavior shift, then when you hear, nuances or things that are relevant today, we don't take these visceral approaches. Like, it's not like we immediately jump to, it's not for me because it's familiar. I mean, it's unfamiliar. And that's all it is. It's just unfamiliar. Everything has a place where it's unfamiliar. But as an entrepreneur, we are the ones that are willing to go down a path of unfamiliar. Like, we take those steps, right? There was a statement that say, good things come to those who hustle. I mean, those who wait. You ever heard that? Good things come to those who wait. And the ending part of that, that's the leftovers by we. That's what you get, right? For us who hustle, those good things you're getting, that's what we leave behind, right? So as an entrepreneur, when we take these different approaches and different ways of viewing, out of being just a technician and start seeing ourselves as entrepreneurs, then we're willing to be more adaptive to new tech, because tech is where the world is, right? I would love to be like, well, when people hear tech, it's like, oh, robots, and no, that's not always how we need to view it. But the way things are moving as an entrepreneur, and because I'm willing to accept financial literacy as an entrepreneur, I understand the world isn't moving in the sense of growth and financial growth exponential. I mean, linear anymore. Wealth generation, if we're thinking
Right.
about that, exponential now. Like we can really rise to a whole different stratosphere. That's why there are so many 20-year-old millionaires, right? Like they don't even know what to do with the money, but they're willing to accept. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah, that's
rules
true.
of the game is different, right? And I know sometimes like, well, I sell real estate. I want you to view yourself as an entrepreneur. Real estate is just a product.
Yeah. No, and that's so true. It's something that I feel like a lot of us, and I was even in there for a long time, where I'm going to set myself up, and that means I'm going to sell a million houses. It was it was always about that next house, right? And while
Right.
doing the work and while selling the houses, that we're in real estate, that's what that's about. That's a vehicle that we're generating that income and ultimately making moves on the back end to build that wealth. We can't see past our commission check sometimes. And what
Goes
we
back to
do when we
financial
get it,
literacy.
what's after that? Yeah.
It goes back to financial literacy. No one talks about what to do with the money after you make it, right? You make the money, you put it in savings to pay bills, to make money, to put it in savings to pay bills, and that you'll never get to a place where you are financially good. Like you can be financially good forever. This industry, and I'm a testament that this industry has the ability to break that financial curse that's on a lot of our families' lives, and a lot of us inherited these weird concepts of money, and we have these visceral approaches when it comes to nuances because we don't understand. First and foremost, money is the tool, but money is the byproduct of becoming valuable. And as long as we're willing to put ourselves out there, right? Let's just use the avenue of content production, right? Or videos, right? Putting ourselves out there gives us a unique opportunity to take the audience that's consuming our information, and they start to learn new skills, right? They learn new information and new skills. That skill that they learn becomes a utility. The utility is the value. So they're becoming valuable, and they view you as valuable. And now money is a byproduct of becoming valuable. And until we're willing to, like I said, take this behavior shift and understand that we're entrepreneurs, there's some of us that are and some of us aren't. Like I ask a question a lot to people now, where do you want a career in this business or do you want a business? Because it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing, right? And until we take those questions, it's hard for people to understand the unique selling proposition that crypto offers, right? Like when we're thinking as an entrepreneur, we're thinking now, okay, if I'm willing to understand that cryptocurrency, right, blockchain, I mean, Bitcoin and Ethereum or whatever you choose, right, is a new form of currency that's very practical now. It is not. There was a time where we can say it's not real because we didn't understand it, right? We can run with that ideology and say it's not real. It's very practical now. They just now, what seized, or see, the lady got locked up for $4 billion in cryptocurrency that she laundered. 4 billion, almost 4 billion. If it wasn't real, why do they care? You know what I'm saying? So when we're willing to take this behavior shift and understand that this idea of an entrepreneur has to be bigger than the product, we're open to more insights, like unique selling propositions that crypto can offer, where if I'm willing to learn what cryptocurrency is and willing to understand decentralization in the sense of what the blockchain offer, I can position my houses or property for sale with US dollar and crypto dollar. My US dollar is talking to the hyper local market. The crypto dollar is talking to the world. Big difference. Big difference when we're willing to accept where things are going, right? And all we need to do is pay attention. It's not like we have to, it's not like it's like we have to chase all this information down. It's right there, right? It's right there in front of us. But our industry, right? We haven't taken that behavior shift where we see ourselves as entrepreneurs. We live the fantasy of entrepreneurs just being self-employed. But when we're willing to take this behavior shift and learn, like I said, little things like financial literacy, what to do with your money. How should I position this money? At the bare minimum, every agent should have some type of index fund. Every agent. I don't care what you do. That's even if you don't care about tech. You should be able to position yourself where you're putting the money in a place that's going to make money for you. And then you can go be creative later. But unfortunately, a large majority of the industry will sell real estate until they die. And they ain't gonna have nothing to show from it. That's all they're gonna do, because we've accepted that idea of I'm a realtor. That's your technician. How do we move out of that? How do we start to shift? And like I said, financial literacy cannot be a gray area in our industry. And until we're willing to take that, those of us like me and you that are willing to accept crypto, NFTs, we're willing to accept video as a way of distributing our content, we'll always succeed. But there are other people that's going to be on the other side, consuming, still trying to figure out, does this work? Will this work for me? I'm okay with that now. I'm over trying to force people to understand that. But until they take that, until the industry takes that behavior shift and start to really help people understand just the mindset as an entrepreneur, that you'd have to be thinking about investing. And this is an opportunity that you can invest, right? People view crypto as I'm buying and it's just an exchange, right? I'm taking my $1 and putting it into another form of currency that is growing or has some. Right now, here's something unique for a lot of people. I know we looked at the woes and the downside when we were seeing, Ethereum and blockchain just everybody was screaming about a bear market, and it was going down. And the people that was tripping out about it was people that don't even have money invested in it. Let me say that first, right? Those that have money invested in it understood, okay, one, this opens up the market for those that haven't tapped in yet, right? It just made the world affordable for you now. It made this world affordable for you now. Let's go. Like, let's get more people involved. Those that was freaking out was like, they didn't, those that freaked out were those that just seen it in a sense of, well, I'm losing. People like myself seen it as the world has an opportunity to be a part of this now. Like, to buy, Bitcoin at 30,000 versus 60,000 is a 50% risk difference right now.
Yeah.
That's how we should have seen it. Yeah. Way different now. And the amazing part about that is it validated that it's going to go. We've already seen what it did. We've seen it hit 60,000. It's going to go back up, right? It's already 42 from 2 weeks ago. It was like 30,000. What other currency does that? What other investment that we can do that has this type of I don't want to say predictability, but this type of opportunity? We've never been at a place where we had the ability to be a part of the inception of a currency. We've never had the ability to be a part of the inception of a new technology, right? Like, if we would have understood what the internet was earlier, everybody would have been on it. We see what NFTs are in a sense of smart contracts. That's why people like myself invest in them.
I love that. No, so it's the whole, if you would have had access to claim as much land as you want back when you could do that, or like, why wouldn't you, right? Like right now, depending on where you buy that acre, could be $1 million, could just for the land, right? So that's one of those things that's just mind-boggling. I have a little bit of crypto. I'm just starting to get into the NFT world, and that's actually through your stories is how I learned. So if you're not following James, his IG is on the screen right now. So make sure that you take care of that on Instagram, and also follow him on YouTube. He's dropping a lot of great content that is very practical. It's practical to your life. This isn't theory. This is actually happening. Not only is he living it, but he's sharing how all the other agents that he helps every single day on a day-to-day in help them with their business, help them with their mindset, help them with their future wealth building projects. So make sure that if you're not following him, you take care of that right now. Also, I am curious as I bring up a super chat from Javier Vidania. Huge shout out, huge friend of the channel, over 120,000 subscribers on YouTube. So you need to get this guy, James, on whenever you're
Oh,
talking
definitely.
YouTube. This man's mastered it.
Let's go.
Let's see here. And then we have love the big picture prospect about local currency versus crypto, which is world over. It's a very, very good synopsis of that. Now, before we continue going, I'm curious to see what's going on in the chat. We've got a combined 20 odd on YouTube right now and almost 20 on Facebook at the moment. So who here has some crypto? Let's know in the chat who here has some crypto, who here has some NFTs. How involved are you? Have you been thinking about it? Are you currently in it? What's going on? So I'm curious to see what the audience is like, to see who we're communicating with at the moment. James, when did you get started on this? How did this? Was it a
Man, I'm new to
realization? Is it
all this.
something that you saw
No,
immediately? What
no,
happened?
no. I tell you what I did do. I I dismissed it as I had time, and my theory of how I view time is I and that's the ignorant assumption that you think you still have time when you procrastinate. I procrastinated, and I've been in crypto for about a year, but NFTs for since about November. But I just went down a crazy rabbit hole when I understood the utility side of NFTs beyond the artwork. Right, I did what everybody else did. I looked at the artwork and was like, I don't get it. And when I started to dig deeper and really started just researching, just general research and understanding, ah, the artwork is the visuals. It's the smart contract that makes NFT so powerful, because we hear the acronym of non-fungible token, and it's like, okay, is that something new? And it's not anything new. Non-fungible is what we do every day. Like every real estate piece of property you sell is non-fungible. It has its own, block. It has block and lot. It has address. That's non-fungible, right? And I just didn't put two and two together until I really took some time to dive into it. And when I got into it, the best way to learn is to invest, right? And of course, I done spent well over six figures inside of investing in different NFTs. Some benefited, some long term, and then I took on a different. When I understood exactly what the uh, opportunities were, I viewed NFTs differently and how I invest in. I look for projects to be a part of. I look for companies I can be a part of. I have a voice. I look for, NFTs that offer things like DAOs and that I can have voting rights to, and what happens beyond just the project. Where does the project going? You know, and it's not a complicated process at all, right? So when you take the time to just understand the smart contract side of it, where it's self-executing, like, just think about that, right? Once you've decided what it is, you decided what it costs, and you decided all of the contingent that should be in that contract, all you need to do is put it out there, right? There's no negotiating and be like, hey, I'll either you agree or not. You can afford it, and you're willing to come up to you're willing to agree to all of the contingencies. That's all that's needed with the blockchain. The unique part about when you understand the privacy side of the blockchain. This is something I would tell everybody to do before you invest anything. Learn what a blockchain is, because every currency is its own blockchain, right? And when I understood, when we spend our credit cards, or we charge our cards, they get our name, our phone number, they get all this information. But when I buy something through my digital wallet, all they get is my hash, which is the code, which like almost like my credit card number, which changes every transaction, and the price. That's it. That's all they get, right? They ain't got to know who I am or what I am. They just know the hash that's connected to it. When you can understand the ledger side of how powerful the blockchain is, in the sense of there's no more faking people out, in the sense of, I did this. I'm not going to do this. My digital wallet, if I own it, it's right here. I'll pull it up and show you where the ownership is, right? There's no more performing, and it removes a lot of the facade of people saying, hey, I'm interested. If you're interested, these are the contingencies. This is the price. That's it. And once you agree, there's no like, oh, I made a mistake. No, this is big boy stuff now, right? That's the fascinating part about smart contracts, right? So when you can see just the possibility of a contract that's self-executing, and yes, there are certain right now making it where it's very, very for the real estate industry, there are extra steps like LLCs and things of that nature, that to make it very practical. But Proppy is one of the companies that everyone should be paying attention to, because they just auctioned their very first NFT in the US out of Florida, right? You have in Miami. Miami is leading the way when it comes to crypto, especially where Miami, there's a hotel called Thesis, where you can they take Bitcoin directly, right?
They even
They
got
did
their
an
own
entire
coin, right? Like
auction.
Miami coin.
I don't. There's a lot of tokens out there. I don't know where the heavy value is yet, but I know that particular hotel is one of the big boys, in the sense of they just did an entire NFT project where it was about a couple 100 million that they sold in NFTs for the hotel of whatever their ownership they were offering. Again, I was behind the gun on that, so I didn't know too much about it. I learned about it later. But they are understanding that there are more people that have different types of crypto that they're willing to accept over just a dollar, right? And when you understand that you can, putting your money in this, I mean, I try and help people understand, when you think about crypto, you want to see it more like a check and a savings account. The difference is your savings account is your return is like 1%, right? I can actually see my money moving in a sense of crypto, right? But again, I prefer for people to take some time and educate themselves on what the blockchain is, then move up and understand the leading currencies like Bitcoin. When you think about Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, they're leading when it comes to smart contracts. Smart contracts connects themselves to NFTs. NFTs are the inception of adapting to smart contracts on a more larger scale. So if they elevate themselves that way, it'll make a lot of this. And I have to be careful, because I don't want to talk as if people know. So that's why if you see me a little reservation of how I'm speaking, I don't want to talk as if people know all the time, because I'm really excited about where this is.
Yeah.
So I those are some places that we want to position themselves in learning. Educated with NFTs. My question is, how can we participate in it now? Very easy, Ian. Here are a few steps to think about when you guys are getting into NFTs. I personally have accepted buying from the secondary market. And what that means is, once a project is minted, where they create, however they decide, their exclusive list, the minting price is the bottom price of whatever the project is. Sometimes the mints are $300-$400. Here's a project I tell everybody you should be paying attention to, that I just found out about this week, and it's called the Wolf of Real Estate. Is one of the first brokerage NFT projects that's being released in March. So if you go to the Wolf of Real Estate, and I think it's NFT, I'll check out what the website is. The minting is the bottom price. The starting part of getting involved inside this space is you got to have some type of crypto, right? And Coinbase, I always tell people to go to Coinbase, because Coinbase will pay you just to learn. That's one of the most intuitive exchanges out there right now. For those that are a little more advanced, they may say like, well, my son laugh at me when I talk about Coinbase, because he trades daily, right? He's like, it's not enough information. But starting out, Coinbase is the best exchange. MetaMask is the wallet that seems to be universal, that everyone's accepting, and all it is a digital wallet, right? Coinbase exchange where you would buy whatever currency you're interested in. Right now, the leading in NFTs is Ethereum, and Solana is right behind them. Right, Ethereum is where you would start out with. Right, if you're going to get any type of, if you're thinking about NFTs, most people are accepting Ethereum. We see that Ethereum NFTs have more value right now than Solana. Right, but keep in mind, you can go back and forth. Once you have your exchange, you have your wallet set up. All of this is free to set up, you guys. You would take whatever Ethereum you bought and just put it right into your wallet. The secondary market that's highly trusted right now is called OpenSea. OpenSea, they give different projects that are starting out. They give different projects that are trending. There are two ways that I tell everyone to research when you're looking at an NFT project. First, see if you even connect with the project or not, right? The artwork is just part of the connection. If you like the artwork, then there, right? When you look at an NFT project, the first place you need to go to is their Twitter account. See how big the community is and look to see if people are actually engaging. Like some people can say, 50,000, people, and then you look at the post and it's 50 people commenting. We already know that they're fake now. So that's not something I would trust. Second thing, you would follow into their Discord. You look at their Discord community as well. You see how big the community is, because when it comes to NFT projects, the value is solely based off the community interactions. That's how you can determine if this is going to be of value or not, in a sense of appreciation. There's some projects that appreciate just based off the utility. You take, like, what made me so intrigued about NFTs is VeeFriends. Gary V launched an NFT. I seen it. I laughed. Thought it was a joke. Right. And I had the opportunity to buy. I was on the site. I could have bought about 3 or 4, but I looked at it and was like, I'm not paying for that. It's like Scribble Scrabble. And I'll say a couple months later, around November, I just was back on his platform, and I noticed that every NFT had a description, and in the description, you started seeing what it all came with, the utility, and I'm like, oh man, this is a ticket for 3 years, right? By then it was too late, right? It was already too late, because when I'm like, you know what, I get a couple of these. When I went to decide if I was going to get it, first, minting was over, so I had to buy it on the secondary market. On the secondary market, this was only months later, a VeeFriend was $20,000. I still couldn't justify me giving him 20 grand for one. I just checked it a couple weeks ago. It's almost $40,000. I still could have got in. Right. So when you understand that the smart contract is the inception of the utility that can be offered, you look at these NFTs and you try and figure out, or you determine if this is a project you believe in or not. And then you can look at what are the benefits that's coming with the projects. There are two sides to NFT projects. Some are just collectibles and others are utility based. There is something that's being offered. Some are just a really dope artist, and you want to be a part of his community, you like his artwork, and he has enough community buzz that people are buying, trading, and exchanging, which appreciates in value, right? The second part is the utility. If you have a project that has a strong enough utility, and here's another thing, when you guys look at these utility projects, seeing what that NFT website or what they're offering, you want to look at what they call the roadmap. It's an entire description of maybe a 5-10-year plan of what that project is all about, right? Next to that roadmap, I look at the team to see if the team can even do it, right? Just because you gave me a roadmap don't mean jack, doesn't mean nothing at all. So we look at the credibility of the people that's on that team. And if you believe in that, that's where you invest. And a lot of NFT projects are very affordable now to be a part of, based off where they're going in a sense of projection. Now, again, we're investing, so there's still a risk factor there. It doesn't guarantee that it's going to pop off, right? There's a project that I bought. I think I have like 4, and I think about a $2,000 investment each, right? And it's called CO1. CO1 is trying to be the leading for high-end fashion. First, the artwork justified, yes, this is the direction. The team behind it, one of the graphic artists, one of the leading 3D artists for Marvel, Avengers. Okay, there we go. I checked, he was there. The designer for the clothes was a high-end fashion model. He's done stuff for Louis Vuitton, and I checked, he was there. And then you see just the details that they took to put a strong team together just to get the facial structure, like looking real. They have a plastic surgeon on their team. I checked. Yes, he's a plastic surgeon. So when you're looking at NFT projects, they require just as much due diligence as acquiring. If anybody's ever been through any type of acquisition, without all of the heavy numbers, it's just as much detail you want to check to see if that's a project you want to be a part of, right? So the ability to be a part of these projects, you're literally buying into the company, because that's how they're doing it right, are building companies inside of this community that you're being a part of, right? So, right now, the Bored Ape Yacht Club is like the leading NFT in the world right now. They have a talent manager on deck that's finding these artists and stars to buy into this project. That's why you see so many people connecting with it. They have a manager. This particular manager once managed, the different actors and stuff. Instead of doing that, he shifted over, and that's what he's managing. Bored Ape Yacht Club. So when you understand that the NFT projects are companies in themselves beyond the artwork, it's just two sides to it. You have the collectibles, and you have the business or the projects that are offering heavier utilities. It's just preference the way you go. Neither one are bad. I personally prefer to be a part of a company and the growth of a company versus just a collectible. And I have some collectibles, but that's how I started. And that's how those steps of seeing the community, seeing a roadmap, seeing a team is how you justify if you're going to invest in any project or not.
It sounds, and maybe I'm gonna bastardize this, so my bad. Because remember, I'm the new guy, but it sounds like as you're talking about the project, you're talking about the roadmap, you're talking about the team, and then whether it's a collectible or has utility. It sounds like you're investing in startups. You're
Yep.
validating
That's
the
exactly how
project.
you see it.
You're validating essentially the business plan, if you will, like the roadmap. What do you plan to do? What does your startup team look like? Do they have any history in the space that they're trying to break into, or how does this make sense? And is that a fair?
No, you're dead on. That's exactly what's happening, and that's what people see the artwork and miss the smart contract side of it. But if we can see the utility side of NFTs as the inception of smart contracts, you can see what the future looks like. It's very clear.
That's awesome. That's awesome, folks. Quick reminder: follow this man, Zillow Killer, on Instagram, and also his YouTube is linked down in the description. So he's putting out a lot of really good content. So about less than 10 minutes, James. I want to be super respectful of your time because you're always so giving. We could be here all day, and although I would be up for it, I would feel bad on your end because you'd have to talk to me. So I appreciate it. As we're going into the real estate lens, there's a question that came up of, let's see if I can find it again. And if you have any questions, please drop it in the chat as we get going. So the latter part about how you see crypto being used in real estate deals. Is there any words of wisdom that you can share with us for that side?
Yeah. Fractional ownership is being done at a massive scale right now. Right? There's a company called Realty. That's real, the letter T.com. Heavy investment with fractional ownership. You have brokerages. You have Sarah out in Arizona. She's doing a large majority of her transactions where she's right now, she should already have her team structured where she doesn't have to Frankenstein anymore, but she does a lot of her transactions through crypto. But when it comes to NFT, what you want to see is and understand fractional ownership is major when it comes to NFT. Like instead of selling the entire house, we can sell it in portions where again, the smart contract could be wrote up in this in the sense of you have, you can use the property at a certain amount of time. You just can't do any adjustments, any changes, and whatever your contingencies are, right? And if you understand just the fractional ownership, I can turn $1 million house into maybe if it's valued there, I can turn $1 million property into a $3 million property by giving four separate $500,000 ownership or fractional ownership to that particular property, right? It just depends on how you write it and how it's structured, but fractional ownership is done at a very large scale where instead of a person being able to buy one project or one piece of property, same thing we think about crowd sharing. The difference is there's a royalty connected to NFTs when you exchange in and out, right? The creator forever makes money from an NFT. When you understand an NFT strategy, there's royalties that's always paid to the creator of the project, which makes that fascinating. And it's safe is I mean it continues a ongoing structured liquidity department in whatever project you got going on out there. So it's just a fascinating thing when you understand just the fractional ownership side. And again, for those that are that's looking to possibly, move in this space, um, Proppy is they're leading the way in the sense of offering NFT projects and bring it to the US, but they successfully did one as of January out in Florida. And of course, the owner understood the process, right? She got it and she structured it so it could be done. And I think it's about a $500,000 deal that was done there.
That's incredible. That's incredible. James, man, I really do appreciate all the time that you give to me personally, to my group, and to the channel. What words of wisdom do you have for the crew? We have quite a few people watching live stream. We're gonna have thousands more watch after.
My biggest thing is I want the industry to understand that the world is bigger than the next deal, right? If we can take a different approach and understand that when you hear the term generational wealth is about positioning, but it is very obtainable. It's going to be hard, but it's obtainable. And as long as we can accept things being hard, we can accept that it's possible. And if you're willing to put in the work and really, really willing to take the time to understand what the world is offering, you start to see just your problem situations as a construct. You accept that it's not a truth, right? And then we start to shift that mindset and start thinking and seeing things where I'm only limited by what I accept. So I only accept the best.
Bam, bam, folks. Follow the Zillow Killer on Instagram, and also his YouTube channel will be linked down below. I need to do a quick plug, and please stop me if I should not plug it, but I'm going to plug it anyway, even if you try to stop me. The Circle of Excellence is by far one of the most active, most rewarding, just communities that you could be a part of. So the Circle of Excellence, it's the link down below. You owe it to yourself to check it out. It is a community that James has created for people that want, as you were mentioning, the world is bigger than the next deal. I think maybe that should be your tagline. I don't know if it is on the Circle of Excellence, but it really is just a community where you provide so much value, way more than people are putting in.
No, we say in the Circle of Excellence, we're willing to destroy anything that's not excellent in our lives.
Boom. I like that better. So the Circle of Excellence is that the way, or is that a way to build proximity to? Because I know a lot of folks are going to want to ask you questions, connect with you in some way.
Right now, I don't check DMs. You know that I'm 1,000% community building right now. So all of my attention is inside the Circle of Excellence. I don't think it's open right now, but it'll be back and forth. But again, matter of fact, the next boot camp is probably the best way that we're. Is it okay if I say it?
100%, anything.
Yeah, March, we're lining up for our next week-long boot camp, and that gives me a good chance to get to know who you are. You get to know who I am, and then we get to see if you're a good fit for the community, because we're making some changes. And like I said, how we structure the community is everybody inside the community is striving to be the greatest version of ourselves. I've accepted it's going to take the rest of my life to do that, and I'm willing to pay that price. So if you're not willing to be more, I'm not the person for you. If you're not willing to understand that the construct is not a truth, right? And you're willing to put in the work and really, really stop being BSing yourself and look to be a everything that this planet has for you. I want everything from this planet. I want to leave here with nothing, right? If you're willing to take that type of deep dive and commit to you being the greatest version of yourself and pay that price of commitment, then that's a good look. But if you're just still trying to figure it out, come to me when you're ready to get to work, and we can go from there. But the boot camp would be the best place right now. And that's they go to jamesrembert.com. The next boot camp is March something, and it's a whole week. And it's me and you, no train. It's me and you and a group of other people. And we're going to go through all different types of advertising. We're starting to talk about crypto now. We're starting to talk about, the world of Web 3.0, because I need you guys to be ready. It's not about a if anymore. It's a win game now, right? Everybody's like, if it's going to happen, it's not if anymore. It's just a matter of when now.
100%, 100%. So the boot camp, I went through it last year, unbelievable, and I'm gonna go through it again in March. So it is absolutely worth every you undercharge, but you already know that. So you undercharge for the boot camp, but you already know that it's something that if you're looking to grow your business, you just have to go through it at least once. I know you have repeats, right? You have people come through
Yeah,
even though
people come
they've
through all
had
the
it
time.
before. So it's well worth price of admission. So go check that out. I will link up that boot camp down below. And then we have I'm a crypto dev and real estate investor agent. Where can we find the Circle of Excellence link? It is in the description. So
It's not
I'll make
open.
sure
I
that.
mean, they can go, but it's not open right now. They got to go
Okay,
through
so
the
it's
boot
not
camp
open,
first. Yeah.
but make sure that you stick around this man. It'd be a great opportunity for you to go follow him on Instagram and also follow him on on his YouTube channel, because he's putting out some great content. James, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it.
No, it's always a pleasure. You call, I come.